Yeah, the gentleman at the back there. Yes. Is that Faisal? Yes. Faisal Islam from Sky News.
Mr. Gandhi, I just wondered, I was very struck a couple of years ago that there was a quote from Steve Bannon, the chief advisor, former chief advisor to President Trump, obviously, and he said that Modi's election in 2014 was the beginning of a global revolt across democracies, part of the convulsions that we've seen, obviously, with Trump's election, maybe with Brexit too, in other parts of Eastern Europe. And I presume from that he's talking about the connection of nationalist policies with the internet and Facebook. I wonder what your reflection on Mr. Bannon's comments about Modi are, and how do you think that your democracy, obviously the biggest democracy in the world, is being impacted by Facebook and digital disintermediation of the media?
The people who support Mr. Trump, who support Mr. Modi, who support some of the other leaders, more populist leaders, are doing so because they're angry. And they're angry because they don't have a job. And Mr. Modi, instead of calming this anger, instead of telling our country that, listen, yes, we have a problem, it's called the job problem, and we're going to work together to fix it, Mr. Modi does something very unpatriotic. He takes that anger and he utilizes it for himself. And he damages our country. There is a foundational problem, which I stated in the beginning. Neither the Western world nor India is able to solve its job crisis for the blue-collar part of society. And that is leading to anger, and that is what a Mr. Modi rides on. The crime he commits is that he damages his country when he uses that anger for himself. The honorable thing to do would be to go to his country and say, you know what? Yes, there is a problem. Yes, you are angry. I'm your leader. I'm going to bring you together and we're going to kill this problem. We're going to solve the problem. And those type of leaders will follow Mr. Trump, Mr. Modi, and these populists. Because Mr. Modi is not going to give you a solution. Because at the end of the day, the Indian youngsters needs a job. And they've created a tremendous amount of damage, but a new breed of person will have to repair this damage and actually solve that problem. And there are people who are looking to do that.
I've got 5 minutes. I can't satisfy everyone, but I will do my best. Let's take 3 questions together very, very quickly. Okay, one here. Poonam.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, at the end of it, you have. Definitely.
I have one, or do I have
right.
2?
Well, 2, 3.
Hello, Mr. Gandhi. I'm Poonam Joshi from ANI. I heard your talk at the LSE, and I have been hearing you talk quite passionately about women empowerment. And yet, you have stonewalled the issue of triple talaq in the court as well as the parliament, crushing the hopes of millions of Muslim women. What would you like to say on that?
We haven't stonewalled. We haven't stonewalled anything. We have an issue with the criminalization issue, but we've not stonewalled anything.
Okay.
Our issue with it is on the criminalization aspect of it.
The lady at the back.
The lady in the front is
How can I miss you? With your colourful dress.
Hi, I'm Poonam Taneja from BBC News. You mentioned the political situation in Pakistan. What will your relationship with Imran Khan be if you get the top job?
My relationship with everybody is nice. I'm a nice person, but the real question I have is, what is the relationship of the institutions that represent the Pakistani state going to be with India? And there are certain institutions in the Pakistani state, within the Pakistani state, like the ISI, that carry out violence against our people. So that's the real issue. The real issue is not the relationship between Mr. Imran Khan and the person who leads India. The relationship is really between the institutional structures of these two countries.
Is that the big issue when you mention the ISI over Kashmir?
No, not Kashmir, not only Kashmir. The idea that you can export violence into India. And it's more than Kashmir. And that's something we simply will not tolerate.
So, Lavina and then Radhika.
Hello, I'm Lavina from Aaj Tak India Today. Mr. Gandhi, you were part of the Parliamentary Committee for External Affairs on Doklam and also had a conversation with the Foreign Secretary. Would you still not have enough information to throw light on what would be your stance on it? And also, will you ban RSS, since you've spoken so much about the connection between RSS and Muslim Brotherhood? Thank you.
As I said earlier, I don't believe in banning things. I don't think banning things solves anything. But we are involved in a fight with the RSS, a political fight. And again, I don't have personal animosity towards any of these people, but I have an ideological difference with them. The other question, now that's a really tricky question. You know why that's tricky? Because I can't say. Because I am bound by parliamentary privilege. And I cannot say what was in that report. But I can say that we had a conversation with the Foreign Secretary and the Defense Secretary on Doklam. And what was said in that room cannot be said outside. So you can infer from my statement.
Radhika.
By the way, unrelated to that committee meeting, but related to the issue of Doklam, you do realize the Chinese troops are still in Doklam. You do know that. And you do realize that the Chinese have built massive infrastructure in Doklam. And the Prime Minister went recently to China and didn't discuss Doklam with them, didn't discuss the infrastructure they built, didn't discuss that incursion, had what was called a conversation without agenda, non-agenda conversation. That's interesting. Somebody comes in, slaps you across the face, and you have a non-agenda conversation. Okay. I wonder why the press doesn't pick this up. Now, can I ask my question?
Okay.
Now, that's one question. Why doesn't the press pick up the fact that Chinese troops are still in Doklam? But the second question, the more interesting one for me, is this business of Rafael that I keep talking about. And that is now gaining traction in India and is a question that is beginning to be raised among young people. And all the young people listening to this, I want you to hear this carefully. HAL has built military aircraft in India for 70 years. The best Indian engineers worked in that company, made the MiG, Jaguar, Mirage, Hawk, all sorts of aircrafts they make. They were going to be given the Rafael contract. And they were going to build those planes in Bangalore. Price of those planes at that point was 526 crores a plane. Mr. Modi goes to France. On that delegation, with him is Mr. Anil Ambani. Youngsters, listen to this again. On that delegation with him is Mr. Anil Ambani. He personally changes the contract. The price of the plane goes from 526 crores to 1600 crores. HAL has built planes for 70 years. Mr. Anil Ambani has never built a military aircraft. In fact, never done any military work at scale. The company that got the contract was formed 10 days before. One of the biggest military contracts in history. And the company that got it was formed 10 days before the contract. Small footnote, Mr. Anil Ambani is 45,000 crores in debt. HAL has no debt. Prime Minister bypasses the Defense Minister. Doesn't hold the meeting of Cabinet Committee on Security. And the Indian press and the foreign press doesn't say a word. This to me is fascinating. And my question to you is, why don't you say a word?
I assure you that members of the IJ will give you a fair treatment.
Okay, thank you.